Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this special meeting of the LA City Board of Public Works. I'm Greg Good. It is Tuesday, February 9th, 2021. Good morning, Dr. Campos and colleagues.
Good morning, Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. Roll call and establishing quorum for this morning, Tuesday, February 9th. We have President Good, we have Vice President Garcia, President Pro Tem Davis, and Commissioners Caloza and Villegas. President Good, you do have a quorum. For the record, all commissioners are dialing in remotely except for President Good, who is dialing in from his City Hall office. I'm dialing in remotely from my City Hall office as well. We are also joined today by our General Counsel, Mr. Ted Jordan, who's on the line dialing in remotely. President Good, at this time, we currently do not have any commentary under the public comments. We also do not have any commentary under the Neighborhood Council comments section. No speakers on the line for any of the special items for today's special agenda. There has been a special request to take item number 9 out of order due to time constraints, but we do have a member from the Council District 15 on the line that would like to make commentary on item number 9.
Okay, we can take item, I would like to actually continue item 9 today. I have not actually had a full briefing, and there needs to be some time spent on that. Our colleague from CD15, XL, would you still like to make commentary, or would you like to wait until we re-agendize?
I would prefer to wait, definitely.
Okay.
I can also reach out to the board and any members that would like to get a briefing on this so we can be a little bit more thorough about what we're doing, the intent behind this, and what we hope to achieve.
Appreciate it, XL. So, colleagues, any objections to us continuing item number 9?
Mr. President, how long would you like to continue this item for, or until when?
Let's do TBD on this one.
We will make note. Thank you.
All right. Any objections, colleagues?
None from me, Mr. President.
And none for me, thank you.
So thank you, Excel, for coming in. We'll look forward to the conversation. Sure, okay?
Thank you.
All right. Let's go to item number 1. Item number 1 is the minutes, approval of the minutes from Friday, January 29th, 2021. Do I have a second to my motion to approve these minutes?
Second.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Any concerns or objections, Commissioners Villegas, Caloza, or Vice President Garcia?
None for me.
All right, hearing no objections, the item is the minutes from Friday, January 29th, 2021 are adopted forthwith. That brings us to actually the acceptance of bids, fun stuff. Kumi is with me here in the office. Dr. Campos will be on his way. Item number 2 is receipt of bids for the Gage Avenue Median Islands Avenue Boulevard to Central Avenue project. The estimated cost of the project is $1,551,041. This is a project in CD9. Kumi and Dr. Campos, I guess he's on his way. We'll open these up and everybody sharpen their pencils and ready to go.
All right.
Thank you all. I apologize for the delay in walking over to President Good's office. We have the bids for the Gage Avenue Median Islands. This is in Council District 9. City has estimated this project to be at $1,551,041 even. We did receive 2 bids for today's bid opening. The first bid is from JED Construction, that's JED Construction, for a total bid amount of $1,228,517.93. That's 1,228,517.93 from JED Construction. The second and final bid receipt for this project is from Pal Incorporated, doing business as Excel Paving, for a total bid amount of $1,082,368 even. That's 1082368 from Pal Incorporated, doing business as Excel Paving. Mr. President, that concludes the bid openings for today's agenda.
All right. Thank you very much, Kumi. Thank you very much, Dr. Campos.
We will need a motion to receive, open, and declare the bids.
Yep. Do I have a motion to receive and declare, open and declare the bids?
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Villegas. I'll take a second from President Pro Tem Davis. Any concerns or objections, Commissioner Colosa or Vice President Garcia?
None for me, thank you.
All right, these bids are received and adopted. All right. Colleagues, let's move to item number 3. Item number 3, and I see we have Uri Jimenez with us today. Good morning, sir. This is the property acquisition, 6th Street Viaduct, Mission Myers Roundabout Project, right-of-way number 33945-2A, acquisition. Recommending the board, 1, authorize the city engineer or his designee to execute all necessary documents, including the attached agreement for acquisition of easement for the purchase of 727 square feet of permanent public street easement located at 2155 East 7th Street, Los Angeles, 90023, portion of assessor parcel number 5171-015-026, known as the property, required for the completion of the Mission Myers Roundabout project as negotiated by the Bureau of Engineering Real Estate Division in the City Attorney's Office. This agreement has been reviewed as to form and legality by the City Attorney's Office, and 2, authorize the city engineer or his designee to request the Los Angeles Department of Transportation to draw the necessary demands payable to the 7th Street Warehouse LLC, a Delaware limited liability company, in the amount of $180,000. Mr. Jimenez, are you here to present for us?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm new to this, so I want to share my screen and just give you a point of reference of where the project is located.
Dr. Campos, can we facilitate that?
Absolutely. Uri, I will make you co-host in the next 30 seconds. You should get an invite.
Okay.
It should be coming your way any second now. Once you see that invitation, you should see your screen at the bottom, lower bottom change. And if you hover over the lower half, you should see a share screen icon.
I see it now.
Great. And anything you do not touch or press the end button, the red button.
Okay. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So just to give you a point of reference, this is the 6th Street, Whittier Boulevard, going east over the river and going west over the river. It turns into 6th Street. And this is 7th Street right here. So as I'm sure you're familiar that the project that the city has to replace the 6th Street is also activating much of the area underneath the bridge that was left over when the bridge was actually relocated further north. So there's a lot of area that's being activated here. And the project that I'm here to discuss is a roundabout that's going to go here. Most of the traffic that goes along, it turns into Mission over here underneath the 6th Street Bridge. And going south, this is Myers Street. So there's a roundabout project that's going on right here. So the project in that same area is going to create a roundabout. Most of the area that's going to be used for the roundabout is already owned by the city and will be converted into the roundabout. This small portion here, 727 square feet, is going to be needed in order to accommodate for the full width of the widening and improvements on Myers Street. So the project that we're doing here is really a small part of everything. And what we're doing here is asking the board to approve the acquisition of this small piece of property here. The basis of the negotiation was an appraisal that was completed. We negotiated with the owner for that property, and it's a good agreement, a good and fair, just compensation for the 727 square feet. It's 180,000. It's a small piece, but it's a valuable piece, and the whole area is being transformed and impacting the value. So it's much more expensive than it was 2 or 3 years ago, and much more expensive than 5 years ago, mostly because of the improvements that the city is completing in that area. And I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Uri. Colleagues, I'll start with Vice President Garcia. Any questions or comments?
Thank you, President Good. Good morning to everyone. Uri, nice to see you. I haven't seen you in a long time, so it's good to see you this morning. Uri, I don't have any questions. I think obviously this is something that that is needed. This is going to be under the bridge, right? Or it's going to be under the bridge?
It's going to be further south. It's going to be like a block south of the bridge.
Okay. Okay, I don't have any questions. I think it looks good. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. President Pro Tem Davis.
Yes, no questions for me on this item.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Coloso.
Thank you, President Good. No questions for me. Mr. Jimenez briefed me. I'm good with this. Thank you.
Thank you. And Commissioner Villegas.
I have no questions either. I'm just glad that there's going to be, it seems like it's going to be a much needed improvement in this area. It's highly industrial. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. Another piece moving on and with 6th Street Viaduct. So yeah, I'm good, Uri. Thank you very much for the presentation, and I'll take a motion to approve the item. Thank you, Commissioner Coloso. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Commissioner Villegas. Do I have any concerns or objections? President Pro Tem Davis, Vice President Garcia?
No objections
For me.
All right, hearing no objections, the item is adopted forthwith. Thank you very much, Mr. Jimenez.
Thank you. Have a good day and stay safe.
You too. Thank you, sir. Good to see you. All right, that brings us to item number 4. Item number 4 is a grant application for the Brownfields Cleanup Grant, Crocker Street Properties. Recommending the board approve and forward this report with its transmittals to the council and mayor, with the recommendation that the city council, subject to concurrence of the mayor, authorize the director of the Bureau of Sanitation or designee to apply for, accept, negotiate, execute, and submit all documents, including but not limited to applications, agreements, amendments, and payments requests, etc., subject to the approval of the city attorney as to form, which may be necessary to secure and receive the Brownfield Cleanup Grant funds for the Crocker Street properties from the United States Environmental Protection Agency, and 2, request that the city council, subject to the concurrence of the mayor, adopt the proposed resolutions authorizing the acceptance of the U.S. EPA Brownfield Cleanup Grant. I believe I see Colette Ronell with us, Empower Profit. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning. So I will go ahead and present about this item. So my name is Colette Monell with Sanitation Citywide Brownfields Program. The Brownfields Program provides financial and technical assistance per request of council offices, city departments, including the CAO and Economic Workforce Development Department. So we are requesting to accept, negotiate, and all necessary U.S. EPA Brownfields Cleanup Grant documents for the Brownfield site known as Crocker Street Properties. The site consists of two city-owned parcels located at 5879 and 588 Crocker Street in Council District 9. And the sites are currently vacant land secured by a fence, and they are approximately 0.84 acres in total. Prior to the city purchasing the site from the former Community Redevelopment Agency in 2013, the sites were vacant and are still vacant, but prior to that, they were operated and owned by a plating business for more than 50 years. The Brownfields program recently conducted environmental investigations and found soil and soil vapor impacts in the soil, including heavy metals and volatile organic compounds that need cleanup before the site can be redeveloped. Council District 9 requested that we apply to the EPA Brownfields Cleanup Grant, since the council office is looking to potentially redevelopment those two vacant lots. The grant amount is for $500,000, and that will cover the total project cleanup. And that's the maximum amount of cleanup funding that we can apply for the EPA cleanup grant. And then there is no impact to general fund. It will be front funded through the Integrated Solid Waste Management Fund, Fund 556. And reimbursements will be, it's a reimbursement based grant, and so they would be deposited into the Fund 556. And I'm here to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Ms. Monell. Colleagues, I'll open up the floor. Start with Vice President Garcia.
Thank you, President Good. Colette, question, have you already submitted the grant?
Yes, so that is a good question to ask. So the grant application was due in October. Due to time constraints, we weren't aware that we were going to apply for this grant prior to 60 days. And so we were rushed to do it, but as the council office requested, we went ahead and applied. There's a note in the board report actually about, there's a council file 11-0527 that authorizes sanitation's director and general manager to submit applications for environmental programs in case we have rush projects. If you decide not to move forward, you don't want us to continue with the application, we can always withdraw it. So that's an option.
Oh, I see. Okay, no. When do you expect to hear back?
We would anticipate to hear back in the spring. Usually the announcements are made in April or May of this year.
Okay, so soon we'll know. That is all from me. Thank you so much for your report and for your efforts on putting the grants together. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. President Pro Tem Davis.
Yeah, I want to thank her for the report. I certainly agree with and support the effort that has been laid out in the motion. Just curiously wanting to know, have we decided what will be developed on this particular property once we're able to complete the work?
There isn't a specific redevelopment plan, but I know just based from the council office 9, they want to have housing or some sort of affordable housing or homelessness housing.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. I was gonna ask that same question.
Yeah.
Do that. Commissioner Villegas.
Yeah, that was my question as well. Thank you so much, Ms. Monell, for presenting today. You did a great job. I don't have any questions. Thank you for the explanation that you submitted in October. I know that these usually come to us before, but seeing that there's timelines that EPA still has, and then we just don't want to miss an opportunity. I understand that, as you receive information, just, I guess, let us know either just through email or some form of communication. CD9 definitely needs more housing, and this will improve the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Villegas. Commissioner Closa.
Thank you, President Good. Thank you for your presentation, Ms. Monell. Agree, this sounds like this is a great project that will benefit Council District 9 and their constituents. I don't have a question necessarily about the project itself. I think the project is great. What I have questions about is the process in which this got to us here today. I know you didn't mention it originally in your oral report that, I appreciate Vice President Garcia's question about the deadline and the timeline on this. I think this has happened a few times from your team in terms of getting authority from us after the fact. But can you just describe, is this a grant opportunity that LA SAN applies to frequently, or is this the first time you guys are applying?
No, this is not the first time we applied to the EPA cleanup grants or brownfields grants. The one thing that does change every year is when we are notified when the applications will be due. It's an annual basis, but there's not a set deadline for each year. It changes. And Peru, I know you're on the call. You can maybe chime in a little bit more about the process.
Yes, it is absolutely our intent to submit the request to apply prior to the application process. Unfortunately, in this case, I think we did get the information fairly late on submitting the application. And so we were not able to proceed and get board and council authority prior to submitting the application. In particular, this one stretched out a little longer, and I think part of that was because of the December delays. Otherwise, I think we would have gotten the board report to you earlier. But there were some delays in processing, and also I think we're pairing this particular grant application with the follow-up item on the board agenda today, and that also caused a little bit of delay in us getting to you to present today.
Can you just briefly walk me through your timeline to when did you get notified? You mentioned just now that you didn't have time to get the board's authority, but it looks like you did get the council's authority, so you did have time. No. Isn't there a council motion here that was referenced?
The council motion is a council motion that's from about 3 years ago, and it's just a blanket authority that allows us to apply for grant for environmental programs. There's no date deadline on that authority. So although we have that authority, we do feel that we have to do due diligence. And so for every grant application, we do submit a unique board report to request authority to apply for every application. But we do know that we have a blanket authority to apply for environmental programs that was established a few years ago.
And I think Mr. Jordan unmuted himself at the right time.
I did. The board is the head of the department, not the city council. While city council approval is necessary, it doesn't really constitute the only authority that the Bureau needs, because it's the board that's the head of the department. So bringing it to the board is an entirely appropriate thing to do.
Yes.
Whether or not they had some blanket authority from the council, regardless of how long ago that authority was from the council, whether it was a month ago or 10 years ago, or 3, I guess, in this case. So council authority is necessary, but the board's authority is as well.
Yeah, we do absolutely recognize that, which is why we do absolutely prepare a unique board report for every grant application that we apply for.
Yeah, and I think I've reiterated this point several times. I'll just do it one last time. Again, I love this project. I think that this is a great project for the council district. I'm going to reiterate again to your team and to LA SAN to bring these before us before the deadline. If for whatever reason you're not able to schedule it or get these items through, I know that does take a time because LA SAN is, our biggest bureau, and you guys have a process to work through. I fully understand.
Yeah. Our board report process is lengthy, unfortunately.
Right. So I think those are the things where, I think Commissioner Villegas' point, to the extent in which you're able to flag these for us ahead of time, or we can work out a process in which, you're able to flag it for your commissioner liaison. I think that we don't like to see these after the fact, right? It really undermines our own process and the board's authorities. So I really appreciate you both and your work on this, but that's just my note on the process issue that we keep coming back to for these grant applications. But
Okay.
I don't have any other questions, but I'm very hopeful that in the future we'll see these before they're due.
I would love to explore opportunities to try to expedite the process for us. So that was something that I will try to follow up with on.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Prophet.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Colosa. I think that what might be really, first of all, as a threshold matter, yeah, this is, any opportunity to develop affordable housing in 2021 in the city of Los Angeles, we gotta seize upon. I think it is obviously nonetheless important, and Ms. Prophet and Ms. Monell, you're certainly acknowledging this. That we, as the governing board of the department, have that heads up. I think at the what I would recommend, and we're actually just straight up encourage strongly, is in a situation like this, in a situation like this where it sounds like there was a lot of urgency and even collaboration with the council office, and at the council office is urgent, which is an awkward position for the bureau as well. That not unlike some emergency change orders, for example, or different emergency options where the bureau comes to the board member who is their liaison. If you're in a situation where there literally isn't an opportunity to get on the board agenda and you are getting any pressure whatsoever, or not even pressure, you feel the pressure because of the opportunity, because of the circumstance, then I would encourage you to reach out, in this case, to me, for example, as your liaison, and say, heads up, this is the situation. This is an opportunity where, the council office is all in. Can we get an emergency sort of approval to move forward? And then you would have that on the record, as we've seen with emergency change orders, for example, where it's in the board report, it's all in there, so that it's really, this is a retroactive, but that conversation. So I actually would, I think it would be great. Vice President Garcia is actually working with council on a grant working group. And so, not to be presumptuous out of, but perhaps Ms. Prophet and Ms. Monell, or however it makes sense, maybe it's actually the board report team with y'all, connect with Vice President Garcia to think about a policy or a way that we can account for situations like this.
Yes, thank you, President Good. Actually, Ms. Prophet is part of our group. Yes, so it is something that we spoke about uniforming the reporting, the process, and so we've had our first meeting, and we'll make sure that this is part of moving forward, because it is something that we want to also uniform is the reporting process, the reporting piece of it, of the grants. We want to make sure that all bureaus are reporting not identical, but at least in the same matter, so that we all understand where everybody's at. And this is part of that process. So thank you. I was just waiting for the conversation to end so that I can chime in. But yes, we're more than we're going to make this part of our conversation to uniform with all the other bureaus as well.
Perfect. Anything else you want to add, Ada?
No, I appreciate the efforts of anyone that's applying for grants. So Ms. Prophet and Ms. Monell, thank you for that. I already, it's something that it's hard to persuade folks and convince folks to give us money for certain things. So I appreciate it. And it's just a process. This is just something that we want to make sure we know that you're working on before it gets to this point where we're at today. So that really is the big concept, but we'll make sure that everybody, it becomes kind of like a part of the process. And I agree. I like the idea of maybe just sending a quick email saying, "Hey, we're applying to this grant," and that's all it really takes for now. But we'll work through that. We're meeting with offices and bureaus, and we'll collectively see what's the best way to maneuver this process.
That sounds great, Vice President Garcia. Thank you. And again, let's get that money.
So with that, I guess I'll move this item.
Okay. I will take that motion. Do I have a second? President Tim Davis. All right. Any concerns or, well, I know we have concerns, but objections, Commissioner Colasar, Commissioner Villegas?
I'm good, thank you.
But I did second that.
Oh, okay. So I've got 2 seconds, Fernando.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I didn't hear somebody else. You can just take me off. Not a big deal.
I can note both Dr. Davis and Commissioner Villegas as seconds.
And we memorialize enthusiasm here. This is important. So, all right. Hearing no objections, the item is adopted forthwith, and we'll go to the mayor and council, or council and the mayor. Thank you, Ms. Prophet. Thank you, Ms. Monell. Thank you, colleagues. And I know y'all are sticking around for a little later. All right. Next item is we're on item number 5 for everybody keeping score. This is a budget increase in amendment number 2, task order solicitation number 87 for Stantec Consulting Services. Recommending the board authorize the director of the Bureau of Sanitation or his designee to issue amendment number 2 to TOS SN-87 to Stantec Consulting Services, Inc. 2, approve extending the term of engagement for TOS SN-87 from August 31, 2021 to July 22, 2024. And 3, approve a budget increase of $160,000, increasing the total budget from $149,000 to $309,000. Given that this is a budget increase on TOS, Dr. Campos, I think this would be subject to the mayor's cost containment process if approved.
That is correct, yes.
Okay. So with that, is Mr. Giacomo presenting, or who's on this?
It will be Colette again.
Colette. Oh, hi, Colette. Oh, sorry.
Hi.
Oh, yeah, this is the item. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, Colette, bring it.
All right. So we are requesting to amend TOS SN-87 number 2 for on-call technical support and environmental assessments for the Sanitation Citywide Brownfields Program. The amendment number 2 will extend the terms of the engagement from August 31st, 2021 to July 22nd, 2024. It will also increase the budget from $149,000 to $309,000. This is an increase of $160,000. The scope of services will continue to provide as needed technical services and assistance to the Brownfields program to include to conduct environmental assessments, investigations, cleanup plans, as well as support brownfield grant applications as needed. And then the original TOS was issued in October 2017 to 25 on-call consultants, and then based upon our evaluation of the proposals, Stantec was selected based on their capability and experiences with brownfields and brownfield-related activities. The original agreement was under $150,000 and $150,000 based on our previous estimates of past work. Amendment number 2 was done in July 2019 as the number of brownfields projects has increased, and we added $174,000, bringing the total to $149,000. And then at that point, we extended it to August 31st, the expiration to August 31st, 2021. And then as the program has increased and we've received more projects and requests for assistance, we are now asking for amendment number 2 to increase the budget and to continue the time of the contract for Stantec. To date, we've been able to secure $1 million through EPA grant funding and perform environmental assessments in council districts 8, 9, and 10, and those assessments have focused on environmental justice areas. We have been satisfied with Stantec's past and current work performance and their pledge and achieved amounts for subcontractor participation levels. And the status for financing, there's no impact to the general fund. The amount will be available through the Fund 556, the Integrated Solid Waste Management Fund. And I'm here to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Manel. All right, we will open it up. President Pro Tem Davis.
No questions for me on this item.
Okay. Commissioner Villegas.
I'm good. I don't have any questions either. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Closa.
I don't have any questions on this item. Thank you.
Okay. And Vice President Garcia.
No questions from me either. Thank you.
All right. Ms. Manel, just a quick question. What's the magic of the number 160?
That's all we're able to get from our financial management department. So yeah, that was the agreed upon amount that they would allow us to receive.
Well, that's a certainly a clear answer. So Lisa Mowry, putting the heavy hand on. Very good. And with this contract, I mean, or this toss, are there set projects like in the queue, or is it really almost, but they're basically on call, and this is an expectation of what, based on the previous few years, would likely be workload?
Yeah, it's more of an on-call basis. So sometimes we know projects coming up in the works, or we anticipate some projects, but it's really more of an on-call and then just based on previous years' work that's been performed.
All right, that makes sense, and I appreciate that. So I will motion to move the item, this item forward as amended, to subject to the mayor's cost containment process. Do I have a second on that? Okay. Again, I think we got a tie between President Pro Tem Davis and Commissioner Villegas on the seconds. Any concerns or objections, Vice President Garcia or Commissioner Pelosi?
None for me.
All right, hearing none, hearing no objections, this TOS amendment is adopted forthwith. Thank you very much, Ms. Manel. Thank you, Ms. Prophet. All right, you're free to go to work. Thank y'all. All right. Next up, item number 6. This is, I believe, Mr. Giacomo's item. Purchase order, Siemens Flender Gearbox Rebuild Kit Purchase, Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant, recommending the board, 1, authorize the purchase of a Siemens Flender Rebuild Kit for an existing Siemens Flender gearbox installed on an Archimedes screw pump located at the intermediate pump station at the Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant with a maximum cost of $230,000, including taxes, shipping, and handling. And 2, authorize the Director of the Bureau of Sanitation to request that the Department of General Services exercise the clause to purchase additional quantities at the same prices, terms, and conditions under the terms of one-time purchase order 21000300601. Good morning, Mr. Giacomo.
Sir, good morning, President, Board, and Bureau Representatives. I am Christopher Giacomo of the Hyperion Water Reclamation Plant. I'm joined by Sherry Simons, also of Hyperion. Again, this board report is requesting approval for the purchase of a gearbox rebuild kit for the plant's intermediate pumping station. Hyperion's process flow operates almost entirely on a gravity feed outside of the intermediate pumping station, which serves as a lift station to essentially raise the water fluid level to continue the gravity feed throughout the plant. The IPS intermediate pumping station houses 10 of the largest wastewater screw pumps in the world. This project is to rebuild our 4th unit, the rest of which are original to the 1995 installation. Procurement will be funded by the Sewer Capital Fund, has no effect on the general fund, and all labor will be performed by Hyperion maintenance staff.
All right, thank you, sir. Vice President Garcia.
No questions from me, but nice to see you, Mr. Giacomo.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President. Commissioner Villegas.
I have no questions either. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Colosa.
Thank you, President Good. Thank you for your presentation. Mr. Giacomo, just curious, when was this last replaced, and how long do we anticipate this new rebuild kit to last?
Well, we don't have a lifespan on our in-house rebuild, but like we said, the originals were put in place in 1995. We are finishing up one previous capital rebuild right now to be put online. So, we're assuming our work quality is the same as the manufacturer or near the same as the manufacturer. So we're estimating, another 25 years. And this project was initiated off of past failures. Hyperion has seen one gearbox fail with another 2 that had increasing vibration readings as well as noise levels. So this is to address an ongoing failure of the system. They're just running out of miles on the units and going past their life expectancy.
Thank you. I was just curious how long the lifespan was and when the last replacement occurred. I don't have any other question. Thanks for noting the shipping and handling in this $230,000 cost. I thought that was very funny. Thank you.
Thank you.
President Pro Tem Davis.
Okay, so the issue in terms of in-house rebuilding, obviously we have the capacity and the talent and the skill to rebuild these units. Is that the pumping areas, right? Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, in terms of the expectation of how long we think the rebuild will result in usage, is there some estimate of time that we can measure in terms of how we might be able to continue to use this service after the rebuild?
I mean, the best way to estimate forecast of life expectancy is, the current units have been in service for approximately 25 years. Hyperion runs, or historically at least, has ran 4 of the 10 pumps 24 hours a day, 7 days a week with no off time. So it's safe to assume that these units are going to receive, 12 and a half years of continuous service.
Gotcha. And so we saved money in terms of the talent and skill of using skill inside or in-house. We saved money as opposed to contracting out the service, obviously.
Yeah, a vast amount. Employee development too. It's a fantastic opportunity to rebuild a piece of equipment of this size.
Sure. Then additionally, obviously, the 12 years that potentially might be experienced or enjoyed by us, then we'll end up having to, obviously, after this rebuild, then getting some new pumps again, correct?
The pump itself is a separate project. That's not done through this. This is essentially the gearbox, which is only like the transmission kind of terms.
Okay.
But yeah, it's safe to assume this is the one rebuild that we're performing to get us ahead of the failures.
Right.
So we've had 3 units failed, which have 2 have been addressed and 1 is currently being rebuilt. This will be the one to catch us up and finally have material on hand and the rebuild effort happening prior to a failure.
Okay. Well, I will just say that given the financial challenges that we have today and the environment that we find ourselves in, that perhaps this is obviously our best option and certainly support it moving forward.
Yeah, 100%.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Just building on that quickly, Christopher, because you know I love asking this kind of question. So let's say we didn't prove this, and you had another failure on third. What happens?
You know, worst case scenario, I've seen 6 to 7 pumps being commanded online during wet weather operation. If we don't have the required redundancy, worst case scenario is a overflow of semi-treated sewer product within Hyperion or potentially the Santa Monica Bay.
Wow.
A decidedly unacceptable outcome. So redundancy is everything. So okay, appreciate that. And this gets us to what kind of this rebuild on this gear gets us to what number on these?
This puts us in where we'll be 1 gearbox prepared for any potential failures. We've addressed all current trends that are trending towards high vibration or excessive noise complaints. So this one finally gets us ahead of the curve.
Got it. Thank you, Christopher. All right, do I have a motion to move this forward? Oh, and Dr. Campos, this will be subject, right? No, because it's
Actually, no.
No.
We do have a blanket exemption for commodity purchases,
Okay.
so that falls under that exemption.
Yep. Almost caught myself. That's right. So
Good question, though.
so this one is not subject. Do I have a motion to move forward?
I'll move.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. Who's my second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Colosa. Concerns or epiphanies, Commissioner Villegas or President Pro Tem Davis?
No concerns for me.
Yeah, none for me either. Thank you.
All right. Hearing no concerns or objections, the item is adopted forthwith. Thank you very much, Christopher. Really appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Have a good day.
You.
All right. Let's move to item number 7. I see we've got Al Bazi with us. Good morning, Al.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Al.
Mr. President, would you like to read the item into the record first?
I just wanted to say hi, Al. Item number 7 is a memorandum of understanding, Los Angeles County Metropolitan Transportation Authority, recommending the board, 1, authorize the Bureau of Street Services to execute the amendment to the memorandum of understanding with LA County Metropolitan Transportation Agency for an amount not to exceed $4,950,000 to perform additional street paving work, and 2, authorize the president of the Board of Public Works to execute the amendment of said MOU. Now, good morning, Al. You are excited about this, and so bring it to us.
Good morning, everyone. Al Bazi, Streets LA. So as we all know, Metro's Crenshaw LAX Transit project is under construction. So back in 2014, as a condition for Metro to get their tree removals permit for this project, they were required by the city to perform sidewalk and curb improvements along Crenshaw Boulevard. So in 2014, Metro and the city entered an MOU. The MOU was signed for Streets LA to perform these improvements along Crenshaw on behalf of Metro. Just recently, these improvements in the amount of $7.5 million have been completed by Streets LA crews. So the main project, the construction on Metro's, as we all know, is being performed by Metro's design-build contractor. And this brings us to the matter that's in front of us today. So a few months ago, Metro informed Streets LA that they are in disagreement with their contractor regarding improvements over a portion of Crenshaw, specifically between 48th Street and 60th Street. The disagreement is in regards to the condition of the roadway portion of Crenshaw, meaning curb to curb. So Metro asked Streets LA if we are interested in submitting a proposal for this portion of the work, and the intent being for Streets LA taking over this work from the contractor. Streets LA agreed. We prepared a cost estimate and negotiated the proposal with Metro. The negotiated amount was $4.95 million. The only thing this amount does not include is any unforeseen conditions. In the event that when we start construction, if Streets LA encounters any unforeseen conditions, Metro will reimburse Streets LA in addition to the $4.95 million. As a contractual vehicle to do this additional work that Streets LA will undertake, it was decided to issue an amendment to the existing MOU that I talked about earlier. Streets LA sees this as an opportunity for a win-win situation for both agencies. From the city side, we will ensure that the significant portion of Crenshaw will get built in accordance with city standards. And from Metro's side, they will be able to close out their contract with their contractor without any further delays related to this issue. President Good has already read the recommendations. I will not repeat those again. Those recommendations, we've been working closely with Mr. Ted Jordan on this board report and the recommendations, and those recommendations were approved by Mr. Jordan. This concludes my report.
All right, thank you, Mr. Brazzi. Vice President Garcia, why don't we start with you?
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Bossi. Nice to see you, by the way. Actually, I'm excited about this. This is a good partnership because I think that we as the Public Works execute at a higher standard. And so I want to make sure that the sidewalks and the roads in Crenshaw are up to our standards, up to the city standards. And I say that because a couple of years ago, maybe it was a couple of years ago, maybe like a year or two ago, we were out there with Commissioner Calosa, and unfortunately, I don't think this was Streets LA's work. I think this was the work that the other contractor did. It wasn't to the best that I would say the residents in that area deserve. And so I'm happy to hear that Streets LA will now go in and basically be the ones putting together back the road how it's supposed to be. I have a specific examples of some that I think needed to be redone even at that time, especially for a resident. I don't have the address with me, Mr. Bozzi, but there is a certain sidewalk that I feel like that needs to be taken care of and special attention to. I'll get you the address and I'll send it to you. I need to probably drive by it, to be honest. But at that time, I felt that it wasn't fair for that resident to have to now have this incident in front of his house. And so I know I passed by it maybe not so long ago. I know it was within this year already in January. And it was still in that same condition. So I'll make sure to send you that information as soon as I can, but I just to pay special attention to that situation. But so I'm happy to see this partnership. I'm happy that it full circle came, and now Streets LA is going to take care of it. So I look forward to nice looking streets back on Crenshaw, as you know, that community has undergone so much construction for the past couple of years that the roads have been closed or they've been working on, or there's always something. So I'm glad to see that Streets LA is going to pay attention to that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Garcia. I'll be looking forward for that information. I'll be more than happy to take a look at it once I receive it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. President Pro Tem Davis.
Yes, I wanted to ask about the time limit of the project. What do we anticipate in terms of the time of execution of this agreement?
When we prepared the estimate, Commissioner, we've scheduled it for 18 months. But to be honest with you, I think we can do it much sooner than that. I would say within a year. this will be our goal to finish it less than a year. And starting as soon as our construction crews are available, after today's action, I will forward that. We'll get signatures, and then we'll proceed to scheduling the work.
Thanks a million. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Commissioner Coloso.
Thank you, President Good. I don't have any questions for Mr. Bozzi. Agree with some of the sentiments that my colleague shared. It's a bittersweet agreement in terms of I'm glad that it's happening and that we're taking care of it for the Metro Crenshaw project, but I'm sad to see that this is how it has to happen and that the work wasn't originally performed by the contractor that Metro, picked to do this work. But I'm glad you guys are stepping in. So thank you for your work on that. And I know this is an additional project you all have to take on this year and deliver on it quickly. So I appreciate your work, Mr. Bozzi and the Streets LA team.
Appreciate that, Commissioner Coloso. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Coloso. Commissioner Villegas.
So I don't have any questions. I'm glad this project is coming together. I was briefed on it. I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. Yeah, agreed. I think that there does end up being a real win-win here. So, and first and foremost, we get the community and CD8 on the Crenshaw line, which has been through a long and arduous marathon here, will benefit greatly from the Streets LA quality of work. So, so good stuff. So I will motion to move this agreement forward.
I'll second that.
You have a second from Commissioner Williams. Any concerns, Vice President Garcia, President Pro Tem Davis, or Commissioner Coloso?
None for me.
None for me.
All right. Hearing no objections, the item is adopted forthwith. I look forward to getting it on my desk ASAP.
Mr. President, Fernando Campos, I was trying to sneak in there before the motion was completed, but this item will be subject to the mayor's cost containment review and also executive directive number 3, simply because there is a cash value behind the MOU, $4.9 million. So therefore, if your board can reconsider this item as amended, subject to the mayor's approval for 83 and cost containment.
Yeah. So let's do that. You're right. So I will motion again to move this item forward as amended, subject to the mayor's cost containment process in 83. Do I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Villegas, thank you. No objections. Commissioner Coloso, Vice President Garcia, President Pro Tem Davis?
No objections to me, for me.
Hearing that, the item is adopted as amended forthwith. Al, Streets LA, I would encourage you all to be in quick communication with the mayor's office and CAO on the process for getting this quickly reviewed as quickly as possible. Okay.
Will do.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Yes, and thanks, Al. All right, that brings us to item number 8. Item number 8 is change order number 21. Sully Miller Contracting Company, San Fernando Road Bike Path Phase 3 project, recommending the board authorize the executive director and general manager of the Bureau of Street Services to issue change order number 21 to Sully Miller Contracting Company in the amount of $307,000 or $307,200 for the San Fernando Road Bike Path Phase 3 project to compensate for field overhead costs resulting from time delays. I think this change order, Dr. Campos, falls within the approved budget. So I do not believe, if approved, this would be subject to the cost containment process, correct?
So long as the amount falls within the approved ceiling, yeah, that is correct. It would not be subject to.
Great, okay. So Nasser and Victor are here with us from Streets LA. Who's kicking it off?
I'll be presenting.
Thank you. Go right ahead. Thank you, sir.
Good morning. My name is Victor Cortez from.
Sorry.
Oh,
Sorry. Nasser talking. Sorry. This is the Zoom thing.
go ahead, Nasser.
Go ahead, Victor. Thank you. It's good to see you.
Good to see you. Okay, so my name is Victor Cortez from the Bureau of Street Services, Construction Services Division. I am the project manager for the San Fernando Road Bike Path Phase 3 project. And the report before you is to request the board to authorize the executive director and general manager of the Bureau of Street Services to issue change order number 21 to Sully Miller, as you stated, President Good, in the amount of $307,200. So a little bit of background on the project. On August 12, 2019, the Board of Public Works awarded the contractor the project in the amount of $18,388,000 with a 10% contingency for a total construction budget of $20,226,800. This project is located in the Sun Valley area of the city of Los Angeles and will construct a Class 1 bicycle/pedestrian path from Branford Street to Cohasset Street, which is approximately 4 miles, within Metro right-of-way, adjacent to San Fernando Road. The project includes a paved bikeway, fencing, lighting, railing, striping, signage, curb ramps, driveways, landscaping, retaining walls, traffic signal improvements, a bikeway bridge over Tahunga Wash, and a realignment of the Arvilla Avenue at-grade crossing. The project is currently at 27% complete, and it is anticipated to be complete by March of 2023. A little bit about change order number 21. The project required a removal of 31 billboards scattered throughout the 4 miles. The contract documents required the owner of the billboards, Lamar Advertising Company, to remove the billboard structures prior to the start of construction to facilitate the construction of the bikeway. Lamar refused to remove them until a compensation agreement was reached for the removals and loss of revenue. Lamar's refusal to remove their billboards in a timely manner resulted in a physical obstruction and prevented the contractor from performing their contract work as scheduled. The contractor notified the city of the imminent delays in the billboard if the billboards were not removed, and subsequently suspended work at the at-grade bike path area on June 19th, 2020. Through much deliberation between city attorney, Metro, and Lamar, an agreement for the removal was reached on September 2nd. Therefore, per general condition article 00400, temporary suspension of delay of work, the contractor is entitled to the compensation of overhead costs incurred during this city caused delay. So based on the city's review of the contractor's time impact analysis, the total delay added 139 working days, of which 64 of those working days impacted the completion date and will be granted as compensable. For the final negotiated overhead rate of this delay period, the total compensation owed to the contractor is a lump sum amount of $307,200. As you stated, this is within the allotted contingency. This adds 1.6% into the contract amount. So we still have about 5% contingency remaining after this change order is issued. And the total construction budget of $20,226,800 remains unchanged. So with that, I will take any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Cortez. President Pro Tem Davis.
Well, I think that it's certainly, according to your report, been managed a very efficient and effective way in terms of the finance of the project. And so that's very much appreciated. My hope is that throughout the duration of this construction project, that we were able to, reflecting back, look and see that we were able to empower, hopefully, small and emerging businesses on such a project with this kind of a fee on it. And it's unfortunate that some of the difficulties that you had on the project included a delay. And we, I think, have responsibly addressed the solution to the problem. And I appreciate the report, and I look forward to supporting it.
Thank you, President Tim Davis. Commissioner Coloso.
Thank you, President Good. Thank you for your presentation, Mr. Cortez. I just have a question about the cost. I know this is our change order number 21, and yet this project is only 27% complete. And so my question is, are we on track with completing this by March 2023? Do you think that's feasible, and like to what extent do you think or anticipate future change orders for this project?
So this change order in itself with the 139 days does take into account the March 2023 date. So that's already built into that date. Since the board report was written, the 27% is no longer. We're at about 40%. So we're kind of on track. We're at 40% in terms of the construction progress, and we're about 50% within contingency. So, we're a little bit behind. Hopefully we don't run into too many more issues. And this was a big chunk. This was almost 2% of the contract. So we don't anticipate any more delays to occur. And currently there are no large anticipated change orders in the books currently. There is one deductive change order that will be deducting a portion of one retaining wall because it's no longer needed. So we do anticipate a deduct change order in the future, but at the moment we're not anticipating any high dollar amount change orders.
Okay, I'm going to hold you to that, Mr. Cortez. Order scheduled for the deadline of March 2023. I apologize if I missed this earlier, but was this the original deadline, or when did you originally anticipate to complete this?
Right. No, this is basically like 6 months of delay from the original construction completion date.
Okay. So it's supposed to be finished in like fall, winter of 2022.
Yes, correct.
Okay. Okay, I don't have any further questions for you, Mr. Cortez. I'm just going to make a big note on here. No more change order promised by Victor. So I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Nasser, do you have something you want to add? You're muted.
Is that clear? Is that clear now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good morning, Mr. President, good morning, Commissioners. Thank you, Commissioner Coloso, for your comments. However, I just want to add, we still have 2 years of construction. And construction sometimes encounter unforeseen conditions that's beyond our control. We don't like to see change orders ourselves. Contractor doesn't like to see change orders as well because they want to finish this project and move to their next project and move on. However, holding to say that we will not encounter any more change orders in construction business is difficult, especially when we have 2 more years of construction. I know Victor is the lead construction manager. He's the project manager. He's doing extremely good job with his team. I'm overseeing the whole construction project, but this is my comment. We don't like to see change orders, but if they happen in construction, due to unforeseen conditions, it's hard, not to say for sure we're not coming back. We still have about a little bit less than $1 million of contingency that we are carefully looking for, and we are really scrutinizing every change order. We are holding to the money as much as we can, but again, 2 years more construction, it's hard to say that we will not come back for more big change orders with us. That's what I would like to say. Hopefully enough, but we'll do our best not to come back.
Thank you, Nasser. Appreciate that. I know it's a large project. I'm only half teasing. I know that there's lots of unforeseen conditions that can come up, but I'm glad to see that there's been an improvement from when you guys last wrote this board report, that it's jumped from 27% to 40%. So you've made some good progress. So hopefully that, there won't be any more change orders, but of course we understand that conditions change. So thank you for adding that note.
Sure.
Thank you, Commissioner Colosa. Let's see, Vice President Garcia.
Thank you, President Good. Thank you, Victor and Mr. El-Shali Sahib, for your report. I'm actually very familiar with this area, so I'm glad and happy to see that this is coming together, and it's going to bring such a new look to that whole roadway. I'm very familiar. I drive by it many times, so I'm happy that that's happening. I have two questions. I'm actually just one. Does the bike path connect to another bike path? Or I know it's a 4.1 mile bike path. Does it lead to somewhere else, or is it just, from one end to another and it just kind of drops after? I'm just trying to figure out, the bigger picture of the bike path.
Sure. So this is phase 3 of the bike path project, ultimate bike path project. Phase 1 and 2 started at Roxford to I forget the other street is, 15 something years ago, but then it picks up again from San Fernando, from the city of San Fernando to Brantford. So that was phase 2. And then phase 3 starts from Brantford to Cohasset to the city limits, which connects to a metro station. So it's all, if you were to, bike along that, people used to ride on the street, and now this is an exclusive bike path for cyclists, and pedestrians to use, and there's other stations intermittently within this stretch that will connect people if they choose to ride, and then take the train, to their, job to work.
Okay, so it's not just like, it's not going to be a standalone bike path of 4 miles and then it kind of breaks somewhere, right? It's going to have a long. Okay.
Yes, it connects. So it connects to 2 existing bike paths and to a metro station at the tail end. So we don't just drop them off in the middle of nowhere. So they do have an end destination. Mm-hmm. Sure.
I appreciate that. I also appreciate that there's a dedicated bike path that's not on the roadway, and you're not taking away a lane. That's a very, that's an area that a lot of cars drive by when, the freeway is very jammed. So it leads to a lot. I appreciate the fact that we didn't take a lane out. I really do. Will this also have a room for pedestrians to walk? Maybe some exercise for some of our folks?
So this is a bicycle/pedestrian path. So pedestrians are allowed to walk on there. It is 12 feet wide. Okay. So each lane is 4 feet, but then there's also 2 feet of buffer, quote unquote buffer. But pedestrians are allowed to use it and be within the entire width as needed.
Okay, perfect. Okay, those are all my questions for me. Thank you so much. I'm really happy and excited about this project.
Thank you.
Look forward to enjoying it as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. Thank you, Mr. Cortez. Commissioner Villegas, I think you have not had an opportunity, have you?
Just because my last name starts with a V doesn't mean I'm always last.
I don't know if last.
I'm just giving you a hard time, just trying to lighten up the mood here. Just a quick question, Victor, I think you mentioned this before, but just for the record, in terms of funding, this was grants that were from state, right? The ATP, the Active Transportation Program?
That is correct. So this project is owned by DOT, and they acquired the ATP funding for this project, correct?
Wonderful. And then just also just for the record, just to what do you say? Just to give a little bit more clarity for the project. This also will be part of the first last mile on an ATP grant, seeing that it's connected to Metro.
Yes.
Metro stop.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Great project. Thank you. Thank you for all the background information. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Villegas. Just one quick question, not to belabor this, but Victor, the 900 plus in already existing change orders, what was the main thrust of most of those?
There was one large one. It was a lot of medium to small size change orders, but there was one large one where there was the plan didn't coincide with the bridge lengths of piles, so that was an adjustment in bid item, which which took up about 120,000 more or less of that big chunk. But everything else was, small things here and there. There's utilities, pre-existing utilities that have prior rights because we're not in city right of way. We are not allowed to just have them move their equipment. So sometimes there is utility conflicts that we needed to negotiate a price to get those out of the way. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Do I have a motion to move this forward?
I'll move.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Colosa. Any concerns or objections? Commissioner Villegas or President Pro Tem Davis?
None for me, thank you.
None for me.
All right, hearing no objections, the item is adopted forthwith. Thank you very much, Victor. Thank you very much, Nasser. Colleagues, I'm gonna, and I'm sorry about this, Ian, gonna take a quick 5-minute recess. We will reconvene at 11:32.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, President Good, the recording is on. Would you like me to establish quorum?
Yes, please.
Great, thank you. It's 11:34 a.m. Establishing quorum again. President Good, Vice President Garcia, President Pro Tem Davis, and Commissioners Colosa and Villegas are present. President Good, you do have a quorum.
Thank you, sir. All right. We've continued item number 9, so that brings us to item number 10 today. Item number 10 is Project Labor Agreement, Donald C. Tillman Water Reclamation Plant Burn Improvements, CIP 6205. Recommending the board add the Department of Public Works Project Labor Agreement to this project. I'll tell you what, we have 3 different project labor agreement items. I'd like to just take these all together. Ian, are you okay with just sort of going through all the projects? And 2 of them are Donald C. Tillman.
Sure.
So we don't have to go through the song and dance on delaying time.
Hey, fine by me, not a problem.
So let's take items 10, 11, and 12 together.
All right. Would you like to read those into the record, President Good?
Yeah, I'll start it off. So I just read 10. Item number 11 is also a project labor agreement, traffic light synchronization program, phase 2, package 1, recommending the board add the Department of Public Works project labor agreement to this project. And then item 12, project labor agreement also at the Donald C. Tillman Water Reclamation Plant, DCTWRP AWPF, that's Advanced Water Purification Project. Primary equalization basis, DCTWRP Emergency Backup Power, Donald C. Tillman Water Reclamation Plant, AVORS and EVIS Gates Replacement, Donald C. Tillman Water Reclamation Plant, Screw Pumps, Inlet Gates, and then Japanese Garden Lake Effluent Bypass. Again, recommending the board add the Department of Public Works project labor agreement to this project. Ian Monte is with us. Ian, why don't you walk us through these 3 items?
Alrighty. Thank you very much. Good morning, commissioners, representatives of the board. We're going to go through each project as it was stated. So very quickly, we'll start with the Donald C. Tillman Water Reclamation Plant berm improvements, which is capital improvement project number 6205. This project, obviously located at the water reclamation plant, is within Council District 6, and the city engineer has a total estimated construction cost of just under $6.8 million, 6.794, 600 to be exact. Very technical project in terms of what's going to be done. I'm not going to read the scope of the work because, again, I don't want to get it wrong. But certainly want to talk about the project labor agreement in terms of for all 3 of the projects that we're looking to add the PLA to. PLA obviously has numerous benefits. This PLA will certainly help to ensure that quality work is done properly without costly corrections. It also is going to provide the opportunity that this work is going to be done safely by providing access to skilled workers with a commitment to training. And also the PLA maintains a language within it that helps facilitate orderly settlements of labor disputes and grievances without strikes, work stoppages, lockouts, or any other type of job action of that sort, which thereby promotes public interest and helps to assure timely and economic completion of the projects. This particular project with a $6,794,600 construction estimate based on our math of 13 jobs per $1 million of project costs could generate approximately 87 jobs and career opportunities. This is one of the biggest proponents that the PLA provides for us. When I say us, I mean all Angelinos and certainly the city and the Board of Public Works. And this is something that we are very much encouraging as it relates to adding a PLA to any project because of the jobs and career opportunities. So this particular project will add a potential 87 jobs and career opportunities. The second project is the Traffic Light Synchronization Program Phase 2, Package 1. This project is located throughout the city and is within council districts numbers 1, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 11, and 14. The city engineers estimated total construction cost of this project at $8,304,460. I will briefly read the description of this project. The Traffic Light Synchronization Program Phase 2 Package 1 project consists of replacement of traffic signal cabinets and signal timing installation for a computer-controlled traffic signal system. It also includes the procurement, testing, configuration, wiring, and installation of traffic signal cabinets, controllers, and auxiliary equipment that will enhance signal synchronization and safety while focusing on early incident detection, transit priority, emergency preemption, enhanced network management, and emergency transportation modes. And this work will occur in multiple intersections across the aforementioned council districts. I do not have a total number of intersections within these 8 districts, but it is a lot of them. Going back to the potential job and career opportunities on this project, again, per our math of 13 jobs per $1 million of project costs, the Traffic Light Synchronization Program Phase 2 project could generate approximately 108 job and career opportunities if covered under this project labor agreement. Finally, as I would term this one, the big boy, this is the 5-project consolidation advanced water purification facility at the DC Tillman location. So this project's a little special because 4 of the 5 projects, all of the projects are excluding the Japanese Garden Lake Affluent Bypass, were previously brought before the board February 7th of 2020 to request the PLA to be implemented on those 4 projects. That was approved on that date. However, because of COVID-19, this project was postponed. And when it was brought back, a 5th element, which is the Japanese Garden piece, was added to it. Because the Japanese Garden Lake Affluent Bypass did not appear on the current Public Infrastructure Project Series list, otherwise known as the PIPS list, which is the approved projects. When the current PLA came before the board 5 years ago, we decided to bring this back through and ask again just to include that Japanese garden piece to be included with the PLA. This, like the other project that's going to be at the Tillman plant, is located within Council District 6. This project has an estimated total construction cost of $83,182,000. There's a ton of technical aspects on this project that I'm going to bypass reading because we'll be here for an hour. But the big thing here is, again, based on the math of the average of 13 jobs per $1 million of project costs. This consolidation of 5 projects could potentially generate 1,081 jobs in career opportunities for Angelenos. And again, this is a project that we are extremely excited about seeing, because these are just a ton of job and career opportunities that would be available to many within the city, including our underrepresented communities. So I am here for any questions that anyone may have for all 3 projects. But again, it is our recommendation and ask that the Board of Public Works add the project labor agreement projects to the projects covered under items 10, 11, and 12 of the agenda. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Mr. Monte. Okay, Commissioner Colosa.
Thank you, President Good. Thank you for your presentation, Mr. Monte. Don't worry, I won't ask you any technical questions about the projects. I don't have any questions for you, actually. I just think that it's so nice to see 3 project labor agreements come before board. If I did the math correctly here, the combined number of jobs these 3 PLAs will create for the city of LA will be 1,276. So that's amazing. And I look forward to seeing the fruits of your labor, and of course, Mr. Reamer for leading the way and making sure these job opportunities are available for Angelenos. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Colosa. Commissioner Villegas.
I don't have any questions either. I appreciate your report, Ian, and just trying to make it as concise as possible. I did read through the board letter, so thanks for just abbreviating everything. And I'm glad that, as Commissioner Colosa mentioned, it's nice that we're able to approve these PLAs today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Villegas. President Pro Tem Davis.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Monte, for this report. I'm always happy to see the implementation of project labor agreements, but I also would like to see the demographics of what that looks like. I know we are not compelled in any way in terms of race and gender as far as hiring. However, there's nothing that prevents us from seeing what the results of our work is like when we do this implementation. And in fact, I'd like to see that. So when we do get this, can you bring me what that looks like? I'm not trying to influence the input of it, but I certainly want to see the output of it. So if you could help me to that end, it would help clear up the whole spectrum of our work in terms of what we're doing and what it looks like.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis and Vice President Garcia.
Thank you, President Good. I ditto what my colleagues just said. I'm very happy to approve a 1,272 prospect jobs for our city. I'm excited about that. So thank you, Ian, and the team at PCA, and everybody also at the Tillman Plan, and everybody that's working along with making sure that these agreements come to fruition. So thank you for that. Hey, Mike, good to see you. Good morning. Very good. That I also am happy to hear that the project at the Japanese Garden is moving forward, and that's exciting. So thank you both for working on this and making sure that we're able to create jobs for folks that need it in the local areas. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. Mr. Monte, can you remind us what are the Master Public Works project labor agreement thresholds absent federal funding?
For targeted hiring?
Yeah, targeted hiring on the current iteration.
Sure. It's at least 30% of all project hours are to be performed by city residents that reside within the particular zip codes within Article 7 of the PLA. At least 50% or half of all of the apprentice hours are to be performed by city residents that, again, reside in those zip codes, but are a part of an actual apprenticeship program. So that doesn't mean that someone that has never done construction a day in their life shows up to a job and they're called an apprentice. they're not in a program, they're not an apprentice. And then finally, at least 10% of all of project hours must be performed by a local resident that is deemed a transitional worker that has some sort of documented barriers to employment, such as, but not including, being documented homeless, having a criminal record, or being a veteran of the military. There are 10 categories in total. But the cool thing is you can have one particular person that as they work on the project, they could hit all 3 different categories at once. But those are the thresholds.
Thank you, Ian. I appreciate that. And those are pretty groundbreaking, and we look forward to the read. All right, so we'll take, I'll motion to move items 10, 11, 12 together. Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Commissioner Villegas. Any concerns or objections? President Pro Tem Davis, Vice President Garcia, Commissioner Colosso?
None for me.
None from me.
All right. Hearing no objections or concerns, items 10, 11, and 12 are adopted forthwith. Thank you so much, Ian.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Bye, Mike. Thank you for being here. All right, item 13, contract award, Ford EC Inc., Tiny Home Village, Council District 13, Alvarado Street. Recommending the board, 1, declare Ford EC Inc. sole bidder to be the lowest responsible bidder and award Ford a contract for this project for $2,481,760. 2, authorize the president or 2 members of the board to execute the contract after approval as to form has been obtained from the city attorney. And 3, recommend the board to instruct the board to submit their bonds and insurance as soon as possible, but no later than 14 calendar days. Marina Quinones is here with us to present. The indefatigable Mahmoud Kremzada is here as well. So Marina, kick us off.
Sure. Good afternoon, President Good and Commissioners. So we're presenting the award board report for Tiny Home Village in Alvarado. This is in Council District 13. We're recommending that the board award Ford Inc. the contract to build the site. One bid was opened on January 12th by Ford Inc. It came in 17.93% below the city engineer's estimate. So we're continuing to see bids that are below substantially. So this is good news. The contract will be a design-build method of project delivery with a design and construction duration of 98 calendar days. Ford has delivered various homeless sites. They recently completed Chandler, and they're currently working on Alvarado, which is due to open in April. In regards to design, I'd like to direct you to the rendering in the board report. Hopefully you have a color copy. So the site is located at the corner of Alvarado and Scott in the Echo Park area. The site is privately owned, so GSD is currently working on a lease to be established for 3 years. It is a previously developed site. Currently it's a parking lot near available infrastructure. If you look at the rendering now, so there's 38 pallets. So the little houses you see with green roofs and teal blue, those are the pallets. They will house about 74 beds. There's a hygiene trailer and an admin trailer. So those are those long structures that you see towards Alvarado Street. There's outdoor amenities, sitting areas. There's a pet area, and then there's the centrally located storage bin with the little green bins that you see in the middle there. The site will need a substantial amount of site improvement. So about half of the site, if you look at the fence line around the bins, the green bins towards Alvarado, half of the site is going to need to be demoed and redone substantially for us to maintain a 2% for accessibility. Currently, the site slopes 6%. So we are going to be cutting into the site about 2 feet, sloping into the site from Alvarado. So we will have some small retaining walls and some steps to access the northern part where all the rest of the pallets are that are not accessible. That requirement has actually increased the cost that we've seen. The previous awards that we've seen were about 60,000, in the range of 60,000 per pallet and about 30,000 per bed. This one's a bit higher because of that. We're at 91,000 per pallet and about $46,000 per bed. Currently because of that site work improvement. In regards to community support, the council office has done some outreach. They received some positive public comments at the last HMP meeting, and they are considering a virtual open house later. That's all that I have for now. I'm open to questions. Oh, Mahmoud, I don't know if you want to add anything. Sorry.
All right.
You did a great job. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Marina. Appreciate that. Colleagues, let's open it up. Vice President Garcia.
Thank you, President Good. And thank you, Marina, for your report. Very good, Mahmoud. Thank you for approving her report. Just quick question. I just took a quick look in Google search on Alvarado and Scott. Is it the parking lot next to AutoZone?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, it is privately owned, correct.
Okay, and so privately owned, will, after the tiny homes are in, will it now, and I'm sorry if you said that on your report, will it now belong to the city? Are we purchasing the land or we're just leasing the land?
We're leasing it for 3 years, starting in February. And that 3 years is pretty set. The owner isn't willing to budge longer than 3 years.
Oh, and then we'll reevaluate the situation in 3 years, I imagine, right?
No, we would have to remove the shelter. It's only for 3 years.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Are we going to do any infrastructure there, or is that already that property developed?
It's already a parking lot, but it doesn't have utilities, right? So we will install infrastructure as far as sewer, water, and that will remain. We will cap it and keep it as is. It's language in the lease currently.
Okay, so maybe it's a little concerning. We're going to invest some money in infrastructure, but in 3 years, we potentially have to, if the owner doesn't renew, we have to move out, and then we would leave that infrastructure there?
Yeah, we would cap it. We would basically remove all the pallets, all the infrastructure that's there would just simply be capped. And the owner is planning to do some high-rise building here for residential in the future. So he would take care of whatever needed to be done to remove any infrastructure left.
I see.
Commissioner, may I jump and just emphasize on what Marina was saying, that these infrastructure work are not like Chandler that are coming from long distance. They are close by. So we are literally providing the hookups from the street sewer availability. So from that point of view, maybe there is money there, but we are spending money, but it's not significant. However, the site, I think regrading is more of the things that we're looking here. And my hope is after the 3 years, the shelters, if they are in good shape, they will be easily, and the trailers for bathrooms and laundry and admin could be easily moved with some repair and some other site work to another hopefully available site.
Agreed. Okay, that seems better now. I was kind of worried that we would do something like the Chandler and then in 3 years be expected to vacate and leave it like that. So thank you for the clarification. That's all for me. Marina, Mahmoud, and thank you, President Good.
Thank you, Vice President Garcia. President Pro Tem Davis.
Yeah, I just wanted a clarification. So in summary, the overall time period for the project is what?
98 days. Oh, for duration as far as the use of the land?
Yes.
So 3 years starting in February.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Commissioner Colosa.
Thank you, President Good. I don't have any questions for Ms. Quinones and Mr. Crimsade. The only additional context that I'll add to this is just, the scarcity of land that we have, especially when each council office has to find, the right place in their district to build these pallet shelters. So I agree, it's definitely not ideal to be, have a 3-year timeline, but, you know, the goal is really to move people into housing as quickly as we can. And so they have been working diligently, I know, to look for land in their district. It's the smallest district. And so this is what we have before us today, but I know hopefully there'll be other options in the future. And I'm also going to be working with them on the additional outreach for this project. So I just want to add that, but thank the DOE for their work on this. And I'm glad to see that even though we only had one bid for this item, that it was still below the estimate. So I can't emphasize that enough, that our costs for these projects are going down, and it's really, really good. And that's due in part by a lot of the work that really is investing. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Colosso. And Commissioner Villegas.
Thank you. I appreciate my colleagues' questions that just helped provide some clarification and context. I have no questions. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Commissioner Villegas. Thank you, Marina. Thank you, Mahmoud. This is one where it's again indicative of it. I mean, the real estate dynamic with the lease it is what it is. We are in an existential moment, and we are making decisions accordingly as a city to deal with the crisis, a historic crisis. This is another one, though, that is reflective of the impact of basically the land chosen, correct?
Correct.
And
Yes.
this will end up falling into the category into it. I think it's 50 to 60K per pallet or bed. I'm sorry.
So it's $46,000 per bed right now, $91,000 per pallet.
So this still reflects a real successful move to sort of, what's the best way to put it, downscale engineer, or certainly down or pull the cost down, for lack of a better way.
Right. So Alvarado also, we've done, a series of cost reduction in other pallet shelters that are construction and also going into design and construction. So this one has benefited from the lessons learned from the past. So this is actually a good price, being that we are doing so much of the site improvement already. Previous things we've done in other shelters is we've removed concrete pads. We're not coloring the pallet shelters anymore, which sort of adds up. We're reducing asphalt coating. We're using the existing fencing, patching up whatever needs to be patched up. It's only temporary. And we're also moving forward using wooden poles instead of metal poles that require deep foundations. So Alvarado has learned from the previous projects, and I think that's what has kept the cost down also. Mahmoud, I don't know if you want to add to that.
That was great. And I just want to add, so all the things that Marina just said, the lesson learned and how to bring the cost lower from, let's say, Chandler. I want to give you a perspective of how we're moving with these prices, because Chandler was the first one and hopefully the most expensive, and we don't see that numbers again. Chandler was $130,000 per pallet. And now we think this one is about $91,000, $92,000 per pallet. So the reduction of about $30,000 there, some for the fact that infrastructure cost was much higher for Chandler. And this property has sewer line and other infrastructure available to it. So it's less. However, those also items that Marina just mentioned in terms of foundation, electrical system distribution and all that, and lighting system that we learned and moved down to some more temporarily kind of materials, saved us some money as well. So in overall, we saved $30,000 per pallet.
Good to hear. Thank you for that crucial effort. So very encouraging moving forward to hear not just that this one is less expensive, but that there are sort of practices, engineering practices that y'all are adopting that would be replicable with subsequent projects as well. So that's great to hear. I have no further questions. Thank you, Marina. Thank you, Mahmoud. Do I have a motion to move the item forward?
I'll move.
Commissioner Closa, thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, we got 2 seconds from President Pro Tem Davis and Commissioner Villegas. Any concerns or objections, Vice President Garcia?
None for me.
None for me.
All right, thank you all. Hearing no objections, I've got you down to the second, Commissioner Villegas. Hearing no objections, this item is adopted forthwith. Thank you so much, Marina and Mom. Appreciate the work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioners.
Thanks, y'all. All right, that brings us to, I believe, our final item of the day. And this is item 14. This is specifications submitted for board adoption and authorization to advertise for the invitation of bids. This is for a project in CD14, Los Angeles River Low Flow Diversion Project, R2, R2G, R2J, work order number SZS 11688, SZS 11687, and SZS 11689. Estimated cost of the project $10 million and $1,000. The bid receipt date will be March 16th, 2021. Do I have a motion to put this out to bid?
So move.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Davis. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Commissioner Villegas. Any concerns or epiphanies, Vice President Garcia or Commissioner Closa?
None for me. None for me.
Okay. And I think I saw a nod from.
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, great. All right, hearing no objections, this invitation for bids is adopted and approved. So with that, Dr. Campos, have we cleared the decks?
Yes, you have.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much. This meeting is officially adjourned. Have great, productive days. Reminder, we will not be meeting again this week, but we'll be calling a special meeting for next week.
All righty.
Thanks, everybody. Have great days.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.